What's up guys, welcome back to the Utah Airguns channel. Today we are talking about a very cool little unit that up until now is a piece of technology that has been very hard to get or not very affordable, and Element has brought this to the market. It is the new Element rangefinding module. So laser rangefinder, but what it is also ballistic. So you can see it has a small screen right there. And when you hit the switch, it's not going to range, it's too close, but you guys probably know what it does, like a Vortex Impact or Mars or Raptor, if you guys are familiar with those units. But it's going to range your target and it's going to give you a firing solution very quickly, and that's a really cool capability to have. And like I said, up until basically early last year, the only units that could do this were $10,000 plus. So now you're getting that same capability for around 500 bucks, which is awesome. And obviously the $10,000 units have more powerful lasers and they have IRL aiming devices and stuff like that. But this is still extremely capable and very cool for $500, and is something that you guys can employ in hunting on air rifles or centerfire rifles. It is capable to 1,000 yards. It runs off the Element Ballistics chip. But today we're just going to go over what comes in the box, and we're going to talk about setting it up and zeroing it, and just basically kind of the philosophy of use if you guys watch nothing fancy. I got excited. It's already unboxed and mounted, but I'll show you what else comes in the box with it. So you get your little digital manual, scan that, got a sticker, charging cable, that's nice, I like rechargeability, and your little hex head. And the other things that come in the box are obviously the rangefinder itself, the mount, and you get your pressure pad that we've already set up here, and it comes with two USB-C connectors. One is at an angle so that you don't have it coming straight down, so you can mount it nice and clean and kind of low profile like I have here. So you guys have seen our videos on the Titan 3K and the Helix 1500 ballistic rangefinders, and it's basically the same software, same concept, and this utilizes the same connectivity to the app as those units. So basically you just turn it on and your icon will instantly pop up in the Element Ballistics app, and you pair it and send profiles just like you would with the Helix 1500 or the Titan 3K. So super fast, super easy, and you just upload whatever profile you want. Right now I have this kind of my most recent gun obsession is this little Wildcat in 25 cal. You saw we shot a bunch of squirrels with it, and I thought it would be super sick to put this on here. But I've got the 25 cal Hades profile loaded. And another thing that you'll need is obviously a diving board, and this is a new one from Element. This works on the AccuLite rings. This is a 30 millimeter. We'll have 30 and 34 millimeters offerings, but yeah, you'll have to have it mounted above your scope, and it is pick mounted, and that does mean that if you have other pick rails anywhere on your gun or your setup that you're using, you can mount it there. But one thing to keep in mind, and we'll go over this when we zero as well, is you want to have it as close to your optic as possible, because what we're going to do when we zero it is we are going to create a parallel zero. So we're not going to zero the laser to like dead center of the reticle, because then you'll have an intersecting zero. So your laser will be looking where your optic is looking, and you'll technically only be able to range at whatever range you've zeroed at, or else you'll get an inaccurate distance. What we're going to do when we zero it is we are going to measure the distance from the center of our optic to the center of the unit. And what I like to do, since this is 0 to 35 yards, so I'm going to say that's almost 3 inches, 2 3/4. We'll measure exactly, but then I'm going to draw a line and make an aiming point for my optic, and then I'll make an aiming point for the visible laser on this when we zero it. And that's where I want those to hit, so that when this is zeroed, we will have a parallel zero all the way out to infinity. And basically when I laze something with this unit, I will just be mindful that the laser is looking 2 to 3 inches above whatever my crosshair is looking at. so that if I'm on a squirrel, I just know that maybe that's 3 mils high, and I can use that as an aiming point for the laser. I can just put that on the squirrel, hit my pressure pad, get my firing solution, and take a nice headshot on the squirrel. But it's a fairly simple process. We'll show zeroing it and getting it all lined up down in our range. It's super cool. This is a really cool technology to have. Going back to why you need it to be as close as possible to your optic is because if you do end up mounting it like on a pick rail that's on the side or on the bottom or on the top of the barrel, you just need to know like the exact offset of where that laser is going to be, and it's just going to be a more complicated ranging procedure than it is having it right here. So if you have an even lower diving board or something like that where it's closer, it's just going to be a lot faster, so you can be like, oh, whack, and hurry and laser it, get a solution and shoot. Whereas if the laser was mounted like down here, then I would just have to like aim and be like, okay, I know my laser's going to hit 2 inches low and 2 inches right. That's where I'll get an accurate solution or an accurate range from. So just keep it on the diving board, get a diving board with it. You won't have a headache when you're zeroing or ranging in the field. Going into the actual zeroing process, and we'll show this downstairs, but I'll kind of show you the general concept of it. The mount, this isn't like a straight walled mount. It has kind of a ball and socket system going on. And basically what we're going to do is once it's mounted, we'll use this for our gross kind of sight picture. We'll get this lined up as close as we can just by moving it around. You can see it kind of moves all around like that. And we'll want to make sure that you're as level as possible. Just level's always good. And then it has turrets, and you'll be able to make a lot more fine adjustments with that. And you'll want to, after you've done your kind of gross aiming, you'll want to torque these down, and it has torque values in the instructions. You don't want to crush your unit and void your warranty, because you can't do that. But yeah, let's go down to the range and we will go over how we'll get this zeroed and up and running. All right guys, so we're down in the range, and now we are going to get a measurement so that we can make an appropriate aiming and zeroing target. And looking up front here, you can see that the aiming laser is down here at the bottom. That's our visible laser. I can turn that on just by holding mode. You'll see that power on here in a second. So that is our aiming laser, and we want to make sure, if we want to be ultra precise, this top laser is the actual ranging laser. So I'm going to hold my tape measure in the center of that, and it looks like we are 2 7/8, and we'll make that line. But we're also going to measure the aiming laser. That is going to be 2 1/8. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make the aiming point to put the center of my crosshair, and I'm also going to make the aiming point for the laser. So 2 1/8, and I'll go right there, and then I'm going to draw a line in between those. And then I also just want to make a reference, go to 2 7/8, just to show that that is where the laser is actually going to be hitting the aiming laser, because they're on different levels. So now what we're going to do is we'll put this up and we'll send that down range. And you don't have to do it at 35 yards. The farther, the better that you can get this lined up. Ideally at 100 yards, if you can keep that perfect parallel zero all the way out. But with a laser, the visible laser isn't super powerful, so you might have to do it in low light, or put some kind of reflective dot or sticker on there so that you'll get a lot brighter feedback. Guys, one important thing to note when you're using really any weapon mounted laser rangefinder is, since this is zeroed to your reticle, that's where you're aiming the range-finding beam, you need to stay on your zero. So if you range something, gives you a solution, and you dial to that, make your shot, before you range another target, you need to dial back to your zero, or else your distance will be off, just because you want your laser and your reticle slaved to each other, and as soon as you move your reticle for a shot, you move that reticle down, the laser stays the same, and that means you're going to be lasing a lot higher than you normally would. So just keep in mind, only measure a distance and get your firing solution when your scope is on 0. That's why when I'm running a unit like this, I like a good Christmas tree reticle, so I can lase it, get my solution, and hold in the reticle. So if it's 2, 3, 4, 5 mils, I just hold in the reticle, make that shot, so then I can come back, hit it with the laser again, and then just keep going. My laser is always zeroed to my reticle rather than dialing and having my laser be off of my reticle. So just keep that in mind when you're using this unit or any other laser range finding unit that is mounted to your scope. I'm gonna get set up here. I've got my Allen wrench. I'm gonna turn the unit on, and then if you hold mode, it will turn that visible laser on. I'm gonna dial my magnification out and just see where my laser's at. Okay, we're actually pretty close, that's good. I'm gonna zoom in closer. All right, so now we've got the target set up and you can see the camera. I'm gonna get our visible laser on. And I'm just aiming at that bottom point because that's where my crosshairs are gonna be. And then I want my laser to be at that top point. And we gave 2 points, but you'll see at that distance, this isn't a crazy precise laser. So it's kind of, the beam is growing. So I'm just gonna try and put it like dead nuts right in between those 2 points that I drew. Laser times out kind of fast, so let's do that. And I'll use the gross aiming, so I've loosened the mount, and I'll aim it around with my hand as best I can. See it moving around real fast. I'm gonna aim right. So let's call it good right there. And one thing to be aware of is when you're tightening this down, keep an eye through it because you'll see that it moves when you tighten it down because you're moving essentially the whole mount. And so my laser will move a little bit, and that's where I'll use the turrets to zero it. So I'll turn the laser back on. And I think in the app you can change how quickly it goes to sleep so that you don't have to keep powering it up. So I'm just a little bit, the laser's a little bit high and a little bit right now. So, alright. I got lined up right there, and then I need to come down. You see I'm aiming right on that point. Timed out again. Go right on that point. And I think that's just about perfect right there. And you'll see on that, on our target that beam is kind of an oval. It got quite a bit bigger as you get to more distance. So that's zeroed now. And one thing that I will recommend, we'll do this when we take this out in the field, but we'll confirm our ranges with another laser rangefinder. So I'll find an aiming point and I'll say, hey, that tree stump, I'm gonna hit it. This is saying it's at 250 yards. And then we'll have someone else lase it with another laser. And if the ranges line up, then that means our lasers are lining up with the reticle and stuff. But if it's off, then that means we should probably go back and refine this zero, because you don't wanna be lasing something and get an incorrect distance and therefore an incorrect firing solution. Once it's zeroed, pairing and uploading a profile is the exact same as the Titan 3K and the Element or the Helix 1500 ballistic rangefinders. Just turn it on, make sure Bluetooth's on. This will pop up. It'll say rangefinding RF module, and you just click your profile, upload it, and then every time. So come back here, Cole, and look at this screen. Then every time you hit the pressure pad, it will give you the distance. I don't think the profile is quite correct in this, but every time I come closer, it gives you a solution really fast. So it'll say your dope and your wind. So if you have any wind plugged into there, it's just saying right 0.06. But yeah, this is a really cool little piece of tech. You can put this on a centerfire rifle as well. It's good to about 1,000 yards, runs the Element ballistic chip like we said before. But guys, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. As of today, these are available, I believe, as of the posting of this video. Super cool piece of tech, great for hunting, great for, I think they're legal in competition. So It just depends. Check your rules, obviously, but don't forget to like and share the video and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.